Good morning. My hair's wet. I'm late. I didn't realize what the time was. And my computer's playing up. What a way to start the morning. It's Monday morning and it's pause. And I have been at the Mind, Body, Spirit Festival for 4 days, having my very first stall, and it was really, really intense. And came home last night to Shell Harbour, which is an hour and a half from Sydney, and just totally crashed. It was, you know, I think it was like 11, coming up to 12 o'clock by the time I got into bed and actually slept. And it was a really intense 4 days, and hence I didn't want to get out of bed this morning. And then next thing I know, it was 8:30 and I hadn't dried my hair. So here I am, nice and fresh out of the shower. So this morning's pause, I've been reflecting on the 4 days that I have been at the Mind, Body, Spirit Festival in Sydney, and it was very interesting. I've actually had stalls prior, but not by myself. So I had this little stall and sharing with women. Mainly I did work on a couple of guys. I think I worked on 3 men, and mainly working with women to wake them up to their divine wisdom, right, which is what this is all about. And so it was very interesting watching the dynamics and the people that were attracted to my stall, because as a conscious creator, I actually worked on the stall myself, and I did a circle in the stall and put an intention into the circle, which is some stuff that I, you know, teach in my Conscious Creator Mastermind. And it was watching who was attracted to the stall, and you know, what I do and what, you know, waking women up is not for everyone. Not everyone is ready to wake up, and there's a lot of people seeking out there. There's a lot of people with challenges, and I had a lot of women that came, and I was doing 30-minute free healing sessions, which a lot of, like, I wasn't advertising that they were free, because I wanted to see who was drawn to the healings in the first place, and not because they were free, right? And so it was really, really interesting. I had quite a few women, and I would say some of them may be even watching today, because we had women join our group. So if you've just joined and I got the pleasure of meeting you on the weekend or Thursday or Friday, I'd love to welcome you to this group, because this is a really special community here. We've got beautiful women and real energy and contribution to this group, and I just love the vibe in here. It's a really high vibe. So so on the weekend I had quite a few women that came in that were just sad and lifeless in a way, and had no, you know, a bit melancholic and no real meaning to their life. They were just, you know, everything was sort of okay. You know, the kids were okay, and the family was okay, and you know, the husband was okay, got a great family, you know, and working a job and all of those things, right? But just not alive and not happy. And there was one woman in particular that I remember, and she may be watching, and I have to go through the names because I worked on a lot of, we did a lot of healing sessions over the 4 days. There was a woman that came and she said that she had not been happy for several years, and she couldn't remember the last time she really laughed or wanted to smile, and it was quite sad. She had a very deep, heavy energy to her, and I can't remember the actual process. I don't tend to remember what comes up in each healing session, but I just remember when she opened her eyes, she just looked at me, and she just it went like that out of her, and this big laugh came, and we sat there for a good 30 seconds to a minute just laughing and giggling together. And another woman that had come, that had been diagnosed with ADHD, and so did her 8-year-old son, and she said, I just feel lost and trapped, and I can't remember the exact words that came out of her mouth the first. She said, I can't remember what she said, but she just was not in a good space, right? And I didn't even do a recode on her. We just grounded her into the earth and did some work, and the trauma from her birth came up. And I remember when I said, let's work on the trauma from your birth, and her eyes opened like deers, like deers in a headlight, and and we worked on that, and she just started crying, and she said, oh, you got to excuse my cat. My cat is hasn't seen me for 4 days, and now she thinks that she owns me, and she wants 4 days worth of cuddles, so she's at the door. And so yeah, I remember that she said she felt like she'd been washed with water, and she asked me, how did you know about the trauma of my birth? I only found out about it myself 2 weeks ago. And see, what happens is we think that we're living our life, right? We think that we are living our individual expression. However, we have all of this gunk on us. We have all of this patterns and conditions from the way we should be from childhood. We've got to behave this way if we want to be seen as good, and if we behave this way, we're going to be punished. And so Midnight's decided she's walking in the door regardless. And so we have conditions that we think that that are the way the world is. So, we have to behave this way to survive, right? Whether it's comfortable or not. In our family, we have to behave this way to be accepted. In our community and our culture, this is the way we have to behave to be accepted. And in the world, there's rules and regulations that we have to adhere to. And that's my cat jumping up on the thing, whatever she's doing. Sorry for the mess that's going on today. And so these are the rules and regulations that we think that we have to live by, and we think that they're static, right? So one of the things that I say to my clients in Conscious Creator Mastermind is, in a family of thieves, it's the person that doesn't want to steal that's seen as bad, right? And so I want you to think about that, because that's quite an intense expression or intense way of putting it, but what is it that how do you have to behave to be accepted in your family, in your relationships, with your friendships? I know that I've had friendships where I have to be this type of person to be accepted. I have to be, I have to respect the person as an elder. I have to, be seen as less than to be accepted, right? To be acknowledged as a person, right? Or I did, until I decided not to. And so it's really interesting, the dynamics that happen in our world and the way we think that they are static. And so we're living in this with all of this stuff. We've got all these conditions from our childhood. We've got all of these conditions that we have been placed on, all these belief systems, and I can't do this because if I do this, then I will be looked at badly. I will be seen as different, or I will be outcast, or I will be not accepted in my community, right? So all of these things that we think that how we have to behave to be accepted, right? And some of them are actually from our generations, our grandparents, especially women. We tend to hold on to, this history of being submissive and being weak and being not speaking our truth and not shining our light, because if we get seen, we can be killed, right? We've got this cellular memory of being ridiculed and shunned and put to death for expressing our creativity and our magic. And so all of those things, then we've got past lives where we've had these expressions happen to us, where we have had torture or pain or fear and doubt and lost love, and all of these things that are within our cellular memory that keep us holding us back. And so we go through day to day, and we have a 4-day event, for example, and we go to it and we think, oh, wasn't that great? And then next thing, we're going back into the same patterns, back into the same cycles, back into what's normal and what our subconscious thinks is survivable. But is it living? Is it really living our highest potential, right? There were so many women on the weekend that are not living their full expression and are not happy and joyful, and things are going wrong in their world and in their life. And I just personally believe that we weren't put on the planet for that. We were actually put on the planet to experience joy and love and freedom and creative expression and uniqueness and individual contribution and abundance. And our subconscious patterns can create excuses of why that's for others and not for us, or how we missed the boat. There was quite a few women that came to me on the weekend that felt they were, there was a couple that were in their 40s, and I could feel babies in their field, and they hadn't found a partner, and they felt like they were, it was early 40s, and felt like they were going to miss out on having that opportunity to have a child. And it's time. It's time for us to wake up, and clear some of that stuff off, right? I often use the analogy of, the movie from David Bowie was in it, The Labyrinth, and it's an old movie, and if you haven't seen it, it's a great one. I've looked it up, and unfortunately it's not on any of the platforms, like, what do you call it, Netflix and Stan and all those things. But there's this one part, this young girl is having to babysit her little stepbrother, and Toby, and she doesn't want to, and anyway, she's quite creative and has got this great imagination and all these toys in her bedroom, and the Goblin King comes and steals Toby, and she has to go through this maze to rescue him. And so she's got this little hobbit, Hoggle, I think his name is. I don't know what he is, but he is supposed to be helping her. But the Goblin King has made him steer her in the wrong direction. But he starts becoming quite fond of this, this girl, and wants to help her because she sees him as her friend, her friend. And anyway, there's this one part where she must be getting close. I can't remember exactly what happens, but all of a sudden she's back in her bedroom and she can't remember what she was doing, right? She's been forgotten, she's got amnesia. And she's like, I was doing something, and what was it that I was doing? And she starts to try and remember, and one of the puppets, it's like a garbage lady, and this lady is in her bedroom, and she's got all of this stuff on her back, and she's got all these cardigans on, and this big pile of stuff on her back. And so as this girl starts recalling what's going on, this garbage lady starts saying, hey, remember your teddy bear, can't forget your teddy bear, and puts the teddy bear, and remember this, you loved this when you got this as a present from your mum, remember, and piles it on top, and then starts putting all of these old memories on her back. And you can see what she's doing, that these are old stories, these are old memories, these are old past expressions that she's trying to put onto this woman, onto this girl, to stop her from expressing herself and getting to the end result, and like being able to rescue her stepbrother Toby. And it's so it's such a great analogy, because that's us. We have all of this stuff piled over and over on top of us, and this big pile of stuff that we're weighted down with, that some of it's not ours, some of it's old patterns from way back, grandparents, the grandmother and the grandmother and the grandmother, and all of those grandfathers, and all of those people that went through wars and famines and depressions and recessions, and all of this trauma that we've had in human history that has been stuck in our DNA. And we think, well, I really want to start my own business. I want to create, a beautiful family. I want to find the love of my life. I want to experience wealth. I want to leave a legacy. And then we start going, yeah, but I don't know how to do that. And, you know, who am I to think that I can shine brightly? That was one of the women that I had quite a few women. I forgot to bring tissues, and I had quite a few women in tears. And one of them was, you know, she wanted to create a legacy, and who was she to shine brightly and to, you know, think that she could do that for her family, right? Well, who is she not? Who are we? And as I said to her, you know, like when you go into a hospital with a, you know, nursery full of babies, and you know you've got these 1-month-old babies or a couple of week-old babies, and you look at them and you say, you know, who's going, oh, that one there, that one's not worthy, that baby's not worthy, can you see that one over there, that one's actually not capable, she's not going to be capable. So that's not true. When we're born, we are born with this pure essence. We're born with this spark of light, and in that spark we have the opportunity and the expression to create and choose whatever we want to experience. But then life starts happening, and we start identifying with that small, you know, I identify with the name Elizabeth. This is my small self. This is my identity. My name's Elizabeth, and these are my limitations, right? And I'd like you to think about that. My name is, and these are my limitations, right? And this is who we start expressing ourselves as. And we think that that's all there is, and it's actually not true. Because now I go, my name's Elizabeth, and this is my expression as an individual, and I can tap in to that higher expression of myself intuitively, that divine wisdom, and expand my auric field, expand who I am, and the universe starts collaborating with me, and all of a sudden I've got amazing things happening in my life, right? And I'm creating. And everyone has the opportunity to do that. Everyone has the skills to do that underneath all of that junk. So if I met you on the weekend and you had a healing with me, or didn't, you might have just come past my booth, and we might have just spoken for a little while. I want you to think about that. Have you gone home and gone back into your individual limitations? For those that had a healing with me, I want you to remember, I'm new now, right? Enjoy being new now. I had some amazing people. I asked afterwards how people were, some of the women. And thanks for checking in. I slept so well last night and feel lighter. Thank you for a great session. There was one woman, all of them are saying I felt pretty calm and relaxed. I'm feeling pretty calm and relaxed. And there was one woman who said she went into the ocean for the first time. Yeah, I feel good. I went and swam in the ocean with my husband. I haven't done that for about a decade. Taken dogs for a walk and just connected with Mother Earth, so feeling doubly great. So good to be able to bring people back to their essence, right? I had one opportunity that I want to share that was so special, and unfortunately after they left I realized I hadn't got their contact details, so I've got no way of following up just to see how it went. But I had this one opportunity. I was just standing. It was so busy, and I had this one young guy. He was in a wheelchair, and his carer was stopped at the stall next to mine, and I looked over, and we just locked eyes. This guy in the wheelchair. He was sitting there really sad, like his whole just a complete frown on his face, and we locked eyes, and I just looked at him and smiled, and we both couldn't look away, right? And he got a few tears in his eyes, and he got a lot sadder, and his carer actually realized what was going on and brought him over, and so it turned out that he had a genetic liver condition called Wilson's disease. He'd had it for about 12 years, so he wasn't born that way. And he was nearly non-verbal. He could hardly talk. But he said, "I'm fucked." Like, it was really sad, and he said, "I'm fucked." And I said, "Well, do you want to come in and have a healing?" And I said, we're all pretty fucked. Excuse the language, everyone, but it's true, right? I said, yours is visible, mine might not be, but we've all got our own trauma and pain, right? So just putting it into perspective, we're all having an experience. And so anyway, long story short, we did a session, and it was really beautiful, taking him through the process. But he opened his eyes, and he looked at me, and he smiled, and the first thing that came out of his mouth was, I'm perfect the way I am. And his carer was like, wow, he's never said that before, and so I would have loved to have worked with him again, but we didn't get any further, and I didn't think to get their contact details. I was just buzzing from all of the work that I'd been doing over the week, over the 4 days. So and it was pretty intense. So so generally, I would love for you to just take a moment to think about, who is it that's within you? How many layers of other things, like past lives and family generational traumas, and stuff in your DNA and conditions from your childhood, are you actually carrying around, that you could actually strip, so that you could find yourself underneath all of that and step forward into the light? Step forward into being, the magic that you are. So I want to leave you with that as a reflection, or an opportunity to pause and reflect, and just think, who am I under all of this, and what am I capable of? Because you are a creative genius. You just need the opportunity to be able to express it. So that's me, and oh my gosh, I'm right on time. I've never done that before. 30 minutes to be exact. Take care, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your week. I met some really wonderful people that I would love to. I'm going to start having on Wednesday Wisdom. There were some great stalls there, and some great things to share. So I will leave you on that note, and enjoy the rest of your week, and we will catch up soon. See ya.